It is significant that human resource managers ensure they are exhibiting CSR by remaining ethical in their practices. This helps businesses gain a competitive advantage as they are going above and beyond simply just complying with the laws. Ethical behavior has also been proven to increase the social capital of an organization, thus revealing the benefits which arise from ethical actions. However, there are many ethical issues in HR management that can have long-term effects on the business's reputational capital and can result in lower market share and thus decrease profits. One ethical issue in HR management includes the mechanism of offshore outsourcing. Outsourcing is defined as work done for a company by people other than the business's full-time employees. Outsourcing is a result of globalization, which is the breaking down of trade barriers. Globalization influences higher performance, quality, and reduces the cost of a business. As a result, there has been an increased demand for outsourcing, and many businesses have implemented it in their HR management. However, the most pivotal reason for outsourcing is the finance-driven initiative to reduce the operational costs of a business, which helps businesses strive for cost leadership. Businesses use outsourcing as a mechanism to lower expenses and increase profits, hence the desire to implement this strategy in the HR management function. However, this results in major ethical issues in HR management due to the potential exploitation in labor that can arise from this process. Offshore outsourcing to developing countries has resulted in major exploitation in labor as businesses seek vulnerable groups without providing good working conditions, safety, benefits, and minimum wage. Exporting labor to developing countries leads to lower labor costs for a business. For example, an IT company in India who earns $10 per hour, when you compare this to the US, in the same industry sector who earn a rate of $60 per hour, there's a drastic difference. This is considered as an effective mechanism to reduce expenses from a financial business perspective. However, it is a major ethical issue in HR management as they remain a contributor to the wage inequalities across the globe. Not only do businesses exploit the minimum wage of employees by targeting vulnerable populations, they also contribute to the unemployment rates in their nation. The USA and Germany are examples of nations that have had increased unemployment rates due to businesses outsourcing their labor. There was a reduction of 6.3% in employees with salaries in the US between 1990 and 2014. When you compare this to the unemployment rate in Germany, which has also decreased, being much lower than that of the US, there's a strong correlation between unemployment rates and offshore outsourcing. Thus, outsourcing remains an ethical issue in HR management, as although it is viewed as a financial advantage to the business, it has drastic negative impacts for nations, leaving people jobless and increasing unemployment rates. These degrading conditions have caused immediate outcry in hope to raise awareness around the issues and implement change to enhance the working conditions of employees in developing countries. It is important to remain ethical in HR management practices, and as unethical behavior results in decreased customer satisfaction as a business fails to exhibit CSR, which decreases the profits of a business. This is shown in the company Nike. Nike is a company that moved its production to Southeast Asia where labor costs are extremely low. By doing this, they had an increased gross profit margin of 40%. However, in doing this, ethical issues arose for the HR management function in Nike. Nike was accused of encouraging unethical behavior by exhibiting inhumane working conditions by allowing underage employees to work, forcing overtime on employees, not meeting minimum wage requirements, and exposing them to dangerous working conditions. This led to a lot of media coverage, decreasing the company's reputation, which led to losses in the company's finances. Thus, offshore outsourcing is shown to be a significant ethical issue present in HR management that exploits the minimum wage, satisfactory working conditions, and decreases the employment rates in nations.
Organizations must guarantee that their procedures and information systems allow managers to conduct objective evaluations that are not biased, because it is an ethical duty of managers to assess the performance of their subordinates with fairness and accuracy. However, research has shown that a great number of workers feel that subjective assessments can frequently be wrong and unjust, and that unethical activity on the part of managers is a significant factor contributing to the perception that evaluation procedures are unfair. The degree to which workers believe they are employed in an equitable and fair workplace is referred to as organizational justice. If an event is evaluated as having significance for an individual's own well-being and goal accomplishment, it might trigger an emotional response. For instance, certain ethical decisions of managers may have outcomes that positively impact employee satisfaction and morale in terms of employee recognition and motivation, which help employees develop a sense of belonging to the organization. However, employees are more likely to experience unpleasant sentiments such as stress and demotivation as a result of an employer's disrespectful conduct and ill treatment. Therefore, this might lead to lower work performance as employees might not feel emotionally connected with their leader. Moving further, when work performance is not evaluated accurately, HR managers might promote and reward those employees that are not deserving instead of those who are highly motivated to help the organization achieve its objectives by successfully completing their assigned duties. Such unfair treatment and unjust interpersonal behaviors on the part of employers facilitate retributory actions from employees. This may lead to organizational retaliatory behavior, as employees might lose interest in their assigned duties. They may start arriving late to work or even start ignoring the manager's instructions. Therefore, this might affect the organization's overall productivity due to inefficiency in employee performance and might even result in high staff turnover. Furthermore, it is possible for individuals to imitate one another in the organization in unethical activities through social contagion and role modeling, which both lead to an unethical atmosphere inside the firm. Globalization and vast advancements in research and development has created an increasing competitive environment in the global marketplace, which in turn is amplifying expectations of higher levels of performance for the organization and employees that are linked with greater stakes associated with success or failure. This is known as performance pressure. Although this may motivate employees to work harder and come up with innovative solutions to complete their task and earn rewards, but it can also cause stress that harms mental health. Moreover, this can also lead to corporate misconduct. For example, the Wells Fargo credit card scandal in 2016, where employees had reported that they were under intense pressure to establish as many accounts as possible in order to achieve the sales quotas. The figure in my slide shows a theoretical model that predicts that performance pressure might lead to unethical pro-organizational behavior as flexible thinking and moral identity might strengthen its link with moral justification. Thank you.
As for my ethical issue concerning human resource management, I'll be discussing discrimination in the workplace, a subject that can be divided into three specific areas: discrimination and equal opportunity in recruitment and termination, diversity in the workplace, and finally, women in the workplace. Starting off with equal employment within recruitment and termination. By its very nature, the screening process for recruitment often discriminates against people by prohibiting career progression through factors that are out of their control. The uncontrollable traits an individual has, such as race, age, sex, sexual orientation, disabilities, and so on, individuals are not being offered employment regardless of their qualifications. In continuation, equal opportunity is defined as when the job or promotion goes to the person who earns it based purely on qualifications, experience, or knowledge. And even while equal opportunity is enforced in legislation such as the Anti-Discrimination Act 1977, Sex Discrimination Act 1984, Racial Discrimination Act 1975, and so on, these legislations and their prohibitions are ultimately ineffective, as ethical breaches occur commonly in the workplace and wrongful terminations on the basis of discriminatory attitudes still occur. Moving on to diversity in the workplace. Workplace diversity values everyone's differences, and diversity should include race, gender, ethnicity, personality, age, education, and background. In the modern globalized world, where different communities and groups connect internationally, the importance of workplace diversity is only further emphasized. Lack of diversity within the workplace results in significant underrepresentations for minorities and marginalized groups, which only further propels discrimination in the workplace. Resultantly, without diversity in the workplace, more employees are unethically discriminated against and leave, only furthering the issue and repeating the cycle. By looking at the diagram on the right, you can see that the Australian Human Rights Commission, in a study done between 2019 and 2020, received over 12,554 inquiries based on workplace discrimination. This is a result of there not being enough diverse and accommodating workplaces that include all, showing where the crux of the issue is. Moving on now to women in the workplace. Finally, women within the workplace are both often explicitly discriminated against and implicitly discriminated against by having to deal with the barriers instilled by the current systems within the workforce. The major issue women are unethically discriminated by is maternity and the resulting concerns of work-life balance. Societal constructs historically dictated that women are expected to be the primary carer of their children, a belief that is still prevalent today. Consequently, women are less likely to be given jobs as their male counterparts, particularly once they have children, as it is believed they will prioritize their children over their career. This issue even extends to women who are yet to have children or women who have no desire to have children at all, as corporations are more hesitant to give high priority jobs to employees who could potentially be unable to meet work commitments. Another form of instilled discrimination within the workforce is the glass ceiling and the pay gap between men and women, which causes less women to enter the workforce. Specifically, the pay gap entails the difference in pay between men and women, in which women are paid 80 cents for every dollar a male working the same role is given. This, in turn, is another major issue for women within the workforce, as even after achieving a high status or role within a corporation, they are still unethically paid less than their counterparts. Consequently, there are less women in highly paid positions overall, which loops back and reinforces the glass ceiling effect where women are not seen in high management positions, only further disincentivizing women from entering the workforce in the first place.
Ethical issues in human resource management are major issues which will affect the corporate environment if they are not addressed. Ethics can be defined in such an enclosed way, where the definition of ethics should be rethought to attain a closer relationship between ethics and the decision-making processes. Furthermore, if human resource management are able to attain a closer relationship between ethics and the decision-making process, then this will align with the result-based method of management by objectives, which is more focused on goals rather than activities or behavioral traits. The ethical issues, right to privacy and basic human rights, are two major ethical issues in human resource management, which if are not followed by management, there could be some serious legal implications. To be able to reach a meaningful understanding about workplace privacy and obligations, we need a fundamental and common understanding of the ethical basis for justice. The issue of basic human rights is an issue that human resource management needs to take extremely seriously, because if they do not provide their employees with basic human rights, where employees are treated with respect, dignity, and equality, then there could be some substantial backlash. Human rights and capabilities have to depend on the process of public reasoning. It could be argued that human rights are rights to specific freedoms, centered around what others can do to safeguard and expand these freedoms. Human resource management are able to implement measures to overcome these ethical issues. This will improve employee satisfaction, employee performance, and create a safer corporate environment. Furthermore, this will help management keep employee performance management aligned with the organizational goals. The ethical issue of right to privacy falls under the Workplace Privacy Act, which states that the main objective of the Act is to regulate the collection and use of workplace surveillance. For the ethical issue of basic human rights to be addressed by human resource management, they're going to have to make sure provide employees with all the resources and benefits they require, such as salary and benefits following workplace health and safety regulations, and ensuring that employees are provided with the right amount of sick and vacation days. For human resource management to fully address the ethical issue of right to privacy, they're going to have to implement workplace rules and regulations providing employees with protection to their right to privacy.